So there's no doubt that it is having a positive impact, not only on the endocrine activity or the hormonal activity, but at the same time it's affecting the nervous system, primarily the peripheral nervous system, and affecting sympathetic, parasympathetic activity, which I would then relate back again to stress. So this may be, and I've been using the product long enough, not only with patients, but with myself. And we've shared a couple of stories as far as how amazing and how observable some of the changes that, when you're looking for something that affects the physiology, you take it and you expect to feel different within a period of time. When you're taking something that affects the body universally in this particular manner, where it's mind, body, and spirit, there's a very observable aspect in retrospect, because you don't realize that you've changed until the change has actually occurred. And when you look back in retrospect, you realize that something dramatic has allowed me to transform to the next level.
Growth is always unconscious. You're never aware of the time when you're actually growing. You're only aware of it after the fact. And so a lot of people have that experience with Transformant, to where they're not really aware of anything that's happening until all of a sudden they're aware that they've grown to a new higher level, or a new state, or new level of order.
Well, and this would make complete sense, especially with resistance to change. I had an incredible professor that realized I was having a very difficult time, and we were talking one day, and he realized how upset I really was at the time, and he said to me, change is something that only occurs through pain and discomfort, and we're extremely resistant to change. What I've noticed with using Transformant with patients is that those that are resistant to the change, and a lot of the patients that we work with have been ill for a very, very long period of time, so long that they've patterned their entire life around their illness. So when they're given an opportunity to live their life differently, they sometimes default back into the old patterns, and they're very resistant to that change.
I can explain why that is. Because psychically they know that they need to give up the resistance to the change, but the reason they can't give up the resistance is because the next step that's just beyond giving up the resistance is the removal of any unwholesomeness that's in the way of making the change. And that's really the only downside to transformation, is getting rid of the unwholesome stuff that's in the way of making the change. And that's why people are so resistant to it. But when they drink the Transformant, it's already been through that experience. So it gives them the resources of being able to say to them, it's possible to give up the resistance to the change and move to the next highest level of order by getting rid of all this unwholesome stuff in your life. And then they will begin to gather in the resources that they need to actually remove those unwholesome things. They'll gather in the people, the nutritional products, and everything that they need to move to the next highest level.